I tend to do a Facebook Live at 6 o'clock, British summertime at the moment. That time may well change. Hi Julie, nice to see you again, so to speak. I hope you're having a good week. Let me know how you're doing in the comments. So at the moment I'm doing this at 6 o'clock every Friday. Maybe you're watching this while you're making your tea or something. Thank you. Purple, I know, I quite like purple myself. Apparently it's quite a spiritual colour, I think, so there you go. I'm actually studying colour therapy at the moment. But anyway, right, the case in point today is failure. Now, we all have a good F word now and again, maybe, if we're a bit frustrated, a bit fed up. So what I want to say is failure is not an F word. It is not a blasphemous word. It is not the worst word you're ever going to hear, because failure can actually be one of our greatest teachers. And I'm really, really passionate about this subject. I talk a lot about setbacks. If you look at my YouTube channel, I tend to put all of my Facebook Lives on my YouTube channel, or look back through my videos on here, and I talk about this quite a lot, because whilst I'm a coach, whilst I want people to achieve, whilst I really believe that if we're predominantly thinking positively, we are opening up our mind to those positive experiences that we've previously shut ourselves off to, I really believe, and from stuff that I've read and things that I've seen, that when you are trying to do something different, trying a new way of working, starting a new business, trying a new career, a new relationship, we're all going to have failures. What I'm not saying is, please don't mistake this for me saying that you have to think about failure, because as you know, if you've seen any of my previous stuff, is that what we think about consistently becomes our predominant thought, and when our thoughts becomes our feelings, become our actions. So what I don't want you to do is be walking around thinking about failure all the time. What I do want you to do is have a really open mindset towards failure as and when it happens. Because unfortunately, life sometimes can be tough. We might have our goals, our intentions, our plans, but as I so often mention, we are in control of setting those goals. We are in control of deciding what we want. We are in control and influence the steps we take towards those goals. However, when things go beyond us and beyond our realm of control and influence, then that's when we can't control things outside of ourselves. I mean, who would have predicted that we would have been in lockdown for a good few months, or that we're still in some sort of semi-lockdown or lockdown situation? So it's about really making the best that we can from failures. It's not about becoming obsessed. It's not about telling yourself you're a failure. I want you to, if you're thinking that, eradicate it. Just tell yourself, you know, I've learned something that I didn't know yesterday. Okay, let's look at this. You know, be your own best mate, be your own coach, and look at it. Don't call yourself a failure. Don't label yourself a failure, but think about what you can learn. And maybe failure is not the right word. Maybe it's just like, there's a bit of an obstacle here, or there's a bump in the road. Or the way I like to frame it is, I wonder what the question is that I need to figure out. What's the question that I need to answer? What's the thing I need to disentangle? What is it I need to learn? What is it I need to find out? So maybe, you know, don't become obsessed. Find your own word for it, as in, you know, I quite like bump in the road, because we all, you know, wherever we drive, we have little speed bumps in the road that kind of help to slow us down. And sometimes that's for our own safety. So actually, if you think about it, a failure or a bump in the road is a way of going, whoa, hang on a minute. We might need to correct our course here. Hang on a minute, there's something that maybe we need to change how we're interacting here. Or hang on a minute, maybe there's a better way of doing this thing. Hang on a minute, you know, maybe next time I would do it like that. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm certainly not talking about you programming your mind to tell yourself or believe that you are a failure, because as I mentioned, our bodies are full of cells that think and feel and store memories. So let's tell ourselves good things. Let's embrace those lessons, embrace failure and look at it a different way. Okay, what do I need to learn? What is this bump in the road telling me? What obstacle do I need to, or do I want to overcome? Who can help me? What's the question I need to answer? So find words, find a word that kind of sits well with you. You know, find your own little words for things that kind of sit well with you and feel comfortable. Okay, so you can use the word failure, just don't tell yourself a failure. Don't tell yourself that, you know, just think, okay, it's something I needed to learn, or perhaps it's something I've not looked at before and need to consider. And again, I would say that if you are getting these bumps in the road or these failures, in a weird way, if you're learning from them, it is a sign of progress. Because if you're doing something different, if you're trying to up-level your life, well then, thumbs up, congratulations, because that's amazing. You're not somebody that's prepared to sit there and go, do you know what, I'm just going to put up with being miserable in my job. I'm going to put up with being in a miserable relationship, because, you know, you are trying something different. It's all about learning from them. And if you see the same little bump in the road come up a couple of times, have a look at it and think, okay, that's happened a couple of times. What do I need to do? Do I need to adjust my attitude? Do I need to adjust my thinking? Do I need to get some help in this area in terms of if it's an area of expertise that I simply don't have? So have a think about that. The other thing is as well, it's really interesting how just go and Google quotes about failure, right? You will see some of the most inspirational quotes from all sorts of people. I mean, Buddha himself, there's so many quotes about getting up and learning. There's so many quotes about if you want to succeed, you've got to fail twice as much as you succeed. You know, I'm not sure about that one, but there is a quote like that. You know, there are so many quotes about, you know, failure being the path to success. And if we look at people in our society, you know, for example, the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy that runs PayPal. Now, you look at PayPal, it's become a very successful business. I think it might be owned by eBay, I'm not sure. But anyway, that's a successful business now, whatever you might think of PayPal. But he had, I think, at least one, if not two, quite significant business failures before then. You know, they just Google it. You know, the history books are littered with failures before success. I mean, Sylvester Stallone, I love this story. Sylvester Stallone was living in his car and had to sell his beloved dog because he wanted to get his movie script produced and nobody was listening to him. It was a Rocky script and he was getting turned away, and he needed some more funding. So he had to sell his dog, right? And he sold this dog to a guy that literally gave him like $10, $20 or something. So that would have just been enough to feed him. Now, luckily for him, because of his persistence and I think his resilience, obviously we know the story of Rocky. It's gone on to spawn many, many Rocky films. He's a multi-millionaire, probably a billionaire. He was literally living in his car. He was living on the streets and he just kept going. And that's not going to happen for all of us to that degree. And that's a very extreme example. The interesting thing is he went to buy his dog back and the man charged him $30,000 going off. So there are lots of quotes, you know, from Buddha, from all sorts of different luminaries in society. Go and Google quotes about failure, okay? And you can see for yourself what people are saying about failure. Remember that failure is temporary. It is not a permanent situation. It's only permanent if you keep doing the same thing again and 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 keep moaning about it and staying in the victim mindset. It is not permanent. It's about adjusting your attitude and understanding this is only temporary. It is not defeat. It might be a delay. It might set you back. You might have to take some time out, but maybe that time is needed for you to sit and recalibrate and reboot your plans and what you're doing. So it's not permanent, it's not a description for you, and it doesn't mean defeat. It might mean a delay, okay? And we've all failed at one time or another, and I dare you to think about something in your life that's got a bit, I was going to say something rude there, that's gone a bit awry, that's gone a bit wrong. Let's call them that bump in the road. Write it down. Think about something from your past, and then think about, what did I learn from that bump in the road? What did I learn about that relationship I was in that was no longer serving me? What did I learn about, you know, staying in that job that really sucked? And have a look at what you learn about that. And if you hadn't have had that experience, that failure, where would you be now? Would you still be stuck in that crappy relationship? Would you still be stuck in a job that really, really sucks? So maybe that kind of failure, or, you know, perhaps you were made redundant, you know, and it led you to do something completely different, okay? So when we face up to these situations, bumps in the road, let's call them, obstacles, whatever you want to call them, I tend to find that when we step into the situation, they lose their power. If we start acting like an ostrich and sort of bury our head and try and hide from it, we are letting that situation control us. We are becoming powerless. And I don't want you to be powerless. I want you to be strong and to be able to step into it and go, right, this isn't quite the way that I'm going. Be your own drill sergeant, be your own coach. When we face up to things, they definitely lose their power because you look at them objectively. Say it's your finances. Okay. Write it all out on a piece of paper. What's going on with my finances? What's going out? What's coming in? Where can I make some adjustments here? Right, where can I look at my bills and my outgoings? Where can I compare some prices? Where am I spending money that I didn't even realise? I'm going to let you into a secret. When we went into lockdown, I thought, my theme for the year has been about focus and consolidation. And I was looking at my finances because I thought, I think I'm spending a bit much here and a bit much here because I want to spend some more here on my business. I sat down and I reckon I have identified £8,000 per year that I don't need to spend, right? £8,000, you know, and it didn't take me that long. I looked at it and thought, oh, hang on a minute. Now, that's not to say that I'm skimping or not allowing myself to do things, but you will not believe it. Sometimes these little things add up to a whole heap of things, okay? So have a look at those things, face up to things so you get rid of their power. Now, the other thing I want to introduce, if this helps, sorry, my internet just bleeped a bit. There's another word maybe you can introduce into your vocabulary, and it's called Kintsugi. And I hope I'm saying that right, but Kintsugi is a Japanese art form, and it's an art form where, say you've got a jug and it's broken and it's stuck back together. That is viewed as not a damaged jug, but something that is part of that object's history, and part of that imperfection is part of its beauty. And in Japan, these broken ceramics and artifacts are really carefully mended by craftsmen and artisans who they re-lacquer the object, and they mix it with a resin, and they put little sprinkles of gold, silver or platinum into the item that they're repairing. It could be a jug or a cup or something. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. And the repairs are visible, but it's called Kintsugi, which means golden joinery. So if you can see that out of something that is broken and imperfect, by really working at it and putting it back together, it actually becomes something quite beautiful. And you know what happens with these pieces of art, this Kintsugi, this golden joinery as it's called, is that they sell for thousands and thousands. So the Japanese are able to see that beauty in something imperfect. And I just find that fascinating. I find that fascinating. There's so much we can learn from Japanese culture. And then there's another idea I want to kind of bring into play here. Something I've been thinking about. Why are we often, I'm not saying all of us, why are some of us, or why is it they say particularly about the British media, we are really interested when a celebrity messes up, when something goes wrong in their life, right? Why is that? Are we all really, really horrible people? No. It's because failure, messing up, makes us human. If you think about it, if you've got a celebrity that is just, their life is perfect, everything's perfect, it can be a little bit dull and it doesn't feel real. It's like Ken and Barbie dolls, right? But sometimes it's not that we want something bad to happen to them, but when a celebrity messes up, in a way, it makes them more relatable, because we all have things in our lives. It's just sometimes with celebrities, we don't get to hear about it so much because they've got a big PR machine behind them. So those are a couple of little ideas for you to play with and go, yeah, do you know what? There is a bit of beauty and a bit of intrigue in failures and setbacks. So, you know, and if you look at things like comedy, if you look at comedy, comedy is a massive, multi-billion-dollar industry, right? If you have a look at people like Ricky Gervais, Russell Brand, I don't know, lots of other comedians, some of the American comedians as well, I don't know them so well, but if you think about it, comedy is all about messing up, like Mickey Flanagan when he talks about his wife or something, you know, all the things he talks about. Comedy is all about failure and messing up, and look at what that does for people's careers, and it's amazing. Yeah, Julie, I'm just reading your comment here. Exactly, that's exactly my point, and it's not about wishing ill on other people. It's going, do you know what? They're just as human as we are. So that's exactly what I was saying. But, you know, comedy is just full of failure. So maybe, you know, if you are feeling a bit, oh God, something's gone wrong, you know, have a look at a bit of comedy. You know, have a look at somebody that is really good at talking about their own failings or self-depreciating themselves. Okay, so tips. Right, remember, failure is not your name. So the first thing you can do, maybe find a word that maybe sits better with you. Speed bump in the road. Remember that failure is not permanent, it is temporary. It might cause a little bit of a delay or a sidestep, but maybe that was needed for you in order to take some breathing space, to take some time. It's a delay, it's not a defeat, right? Don't call yourself a failure. Just say, I'm somebody that needs to learn something. And then ask yourself, right, what can I do differently? What's the question I need to learn? What help can I get? Ask questions. Be a little private detective. Write down a failure from the past. Have a look at it and go, okay, if that hadn't have happened, if that bump in the road hadn't have happened, would I still be stuck in that? You know, so everybody messes up. Everybody has failings and mistakes. It makes us human. It makes us relatable. It's part of the human condition. Remember, I talked about the Japanese art of Kintsugi, putting together broken parts of pottery and selling them for a lot of money because the beauty is in the imperfection of those pieces of art. Okay? Remember that failure is part of a process of goals. If you're trying to up-level your life, if you're trying to do something different, just by simple fact of the matter that you didn't know something that you know something that you didn't know before means you are making progress. It just means you've got to course correct. You know, it's like plugging in your sat nav and going, oh, hang on a minute, there's a better way to get to that destination because that road's blocked off. I didn't realise that. I'm in London and I didn't realise that was a T-junction, so I need to go somewhere else. Remember to release any expectations that people have of us. And I always talk about being careful who you share your goals with. Share goals with people that have got your best interests at heart, because sometimes even our friends and our family can say really weird stuff. Like, oh, well, you don't want to do that. Why do you want to do that for? Oh, well, I knew that was going to happen. I could have told you that. And that's actually about their state of mind. It's not about you. So keep your counsel wise. Tell people that really empower you and help you. Okay? And as I say, say on so many videos, keep a flexible, open mindset. Where did you learn? Where did you fail? And you know, how is your life better from that failing? And remember, there is beauty in imperfection. Look up quotes on things, setbacks and failures. Just see how much there is out there. So everybody's doing it, everybody's at it, okay? And the trick is, you know, you might be upset, you might be annoyed, you might be angry. Go through the tunnel of those feelings and come out the other side, because it is progress. And actually, do you know what? Maybe there's something that you know that you do, like a character trait. So, I don't know, maybe you, I don't know, chew really loudly or stomp around the house. Maybe you can just start to laugh at little things about yourself, and that will help you maybe lighten up a bit about some of the other things that might be going on in your life. You know, can we just like take failure or setbacks as like, yeah, that's just an annoying little fly that was swatting around my face. I'm going to swat that away and try again, you know, try to take the sting out of it, you know. I don't know, I'm just sort of freewheeling here at the end of this video, coming up with some ideas for you. But as I said, I've gone into, this evening I've gone into what failure is, what failure isn't, what it does not mean about you, what you can take from it, how you can learn from it, why we're fascinated sometimes with failures, and as I say, some tips and questions that you can use to kind of progress and move forward. So thank you for watching this evening. I'm going to post this video. I am getting around to putting up my latest videos on YouTube, so they're always on YouTube. And yeah, so have a great weekend, have a lovely evening, and look forward to seeing you soon. All right then, thanks for joining. Bye. Oh, thanks Julie, pleasure. Speak to you soon. Have a lovely evening. Bye.